people are curious on how I make my domes. So here I'm going to give a quick overview of the materials and methods that I employ. In order to get the curved surface that I work on, I have the domes fabricated in Canada and shipped down to Florida. These domes are made out of clear 1/4 inch plexiglass. The plexiglass is sandblasted to give a surface that the acrylic gesso can adhere to. I put as many as 15 coats of gesso on a dome. Then I sand the dome smooth so that the silver point drawing can go on cleanly. I work in silver point, which is somewhat unusual because it's a material that people think of as from the 14th century. And I first came across it actually when I was teaching in Italy and went to the Uffizi Drawing Gallery. Silver point is essentially silver wire in a holder, and here I have it in a standard lead holder. And with the silver wire I make hatching marks over and over on the dome. People ask me if I get tired of doing this. Well, maybe sometimes I do, but basically I really enjoy doing this work. It's very meditative, very focused work. And I like seeing the forms appear. Silver makes a darker mark than you might think as well, so often people are struck by how much value I can get using silver point on my domes. Once the underdrawing is done in the silver point, I mildly obliterate that with the graphite wash. So I grind up graphite and I run it in a wash over the entire dome. And it makes the dome seem kind of foggy or bubbly, murky. In a sense, it somewhat dissolves your reading of the earlier drawing. Then once the wash is complete, I allow it to dry and I seal the wash with acrylic varnish. And then I go back into the forms and I heighten them with white paint. So very carefully I bring out the forms again with this tiny brush, carefully delineating the edges I want to appear. And sometimes I make mistakes and have to wipe it out. This is really my favorite part of the process. I absolutely love painting. People ask me, are you a painter or a drawer? I love painting. I absolutely love doing this. It's a very soothing process. And also this is the point in time when I can actually see the forms appearing the way I want them to appear. Once I get the whole painting part of it done, it's ready for the addition of the fiber optics. Fiber optics are the tiny lights I use to punctuate the surface of the dome. Sometimes I do as many as 600 lights. And here I am drilling with a 32nd of an inch drill bit into the 1/4 inch acrylic dome to make a hole to run the fiber optic cable through. I have to be really careful because these drill bits break, and I do break a lot of them. Usually I have to go through the hole about 3 times to clear out the plastic because it actually kind of melts into the hole and seals itself up again. I take the fiber optic cable and I run it through this little cutter that gives it a nice clean cut so that the light can be transmitted along the cable very cleanly and gives a bright light. I place the cut ends into the holes I've drilled into the dome, but now I'm working on the concave side of the dome where all the fiber optics and the light emitter, all that stuff is housed. So I place all the cables through the little holes so that the fiber optic cable peeks out on the other side of the dome, the side of the dome that you see when the piece is hung up. Once all the cables are put into place, then I have to adhere them. I mix up epoxy resin and I glue each of the fibers into place. Once that it has hardened, I gather all the cables together and bundle them. I cinch them together so that all the cables can be run into one light emitter. The light emitter is basically a box with a series of LED lights that have been set up with a programmed sequencer. I cut the ends of the cables so they are all the same length and can run into the box cleanly. I put an orange filter over the light of the box to adjust the LED lights from being too blue. So the circuit board in the box is what allows me to select a pattern of turning the LED lights on or off, so I can vary the pattern, vary the speed. So adjust it so that the kind of pattern of moving lights you get on the exterior of the piece suits the piece. Then I connect the light emitter box to the fiber optic cables. Screw it in tight, and then I adhere the box itself to the interior of the dome. Once that is done, basically the piece is complete and ready to be displayed. And finally, people ask me how long it takes to make one of my pieces. Well, it really depends on the size, but pieces can take hundreds of hours, many hundreds of hours to make. Fortunately, it is a process I love to do.